2, 1. Francesc, muchísimas gracias por... voy a empezar de nuevo. Francesc, thank you so much for accepting my invitation to have this conversation. Our common language is Spanish, but we have chosen to speak in English so that we can have a wider audience of what I hope is going to be a series of recollections of educators across the globe as to what's going on with education in light of the situation with the pandemic. So thank you so much. I want to start by asking you to introduce yourself, just even by telling us where are you, what's your neck of the forest in the planet, and a little bit of your background, the background of your school.
So thank you very much to you, Juanjo, for this invitation. Well, I teach in a secondary school here in Alcanar. It's a small town in the south of Catalonia in Spain. And we have, I have many different courses. I'm teaching here, we say, first of ESO, which is 12 years old. Students, and I have another class. I have 3 classes of first of ESO, Educación Secundaria Obligatoria. Then I have another class of secondary, segundo de ESO, second course. This will be 3rd year old. And then I have another class. I'm a math teacher, and I have one last group is from students that they are in the last course of secondary school. They are preparing to enter university.
I see.
This is maybe the most difficult point because, we have to consider our points, no? But we have to situate that even the school is compulsory. They have to attend the school. They don't have a title until 4th of ESO, until cuarto de ESO.
I see.
So some teachers ask themselves, and well, maybe I'm advancing the things that we want to talk later, but just up until 4th of ESO, they don't have any title, let's say, for legal validity, right?
Also, any formal degrees that they can use to work.
Yeah, well, they have a formal degree in sexto de primaria.
I see.
But it's like, this is just, primaria is just preparing students for getting the title, the degree in secondary school, right? And it would not be, there's a teacher, I read, she made a post in Facebook, and she was saying another, how will we say that? Another, I don't even remember the name in Spanish, sindicato, sindicato, yeah. And she was saying that first of all, we have to care about the students and how are they feeling, and not put pressure on them. And up until now, here, the education has been, the exercises or what we have tried to prepare for our students was not compulsory. It was not affecting the grade, right? So this is what I have tried the most.
I see.
To make my students comfortable.
Comfortable, because they are confined in their homes and they cannot go out, and everything has to happen at home, right?
Well, we have had different scenarios up until now. I don't know exactly, but it started like 4 weeks ago, I think. It was a Friday. And then the schools closed. So in that point, the first days, it was not very clear what we had to do. This last week we were on holidays, right?
Yes. That's right.
Right now we are on holidays.
Yeah.
And it is said, but it's not sure, that after holidays, we'll have to assess students. It will affect their grade.
Oh, I see. So the closure started on March 18th or so, on that date,
Yeah, I'm
or
not sure, but
later than that.
yeah, something like that. I'm trying to
Okay.
check my calendar, but yeah, I think so.
Oh, and I forgot to ask you, what's the size of your school and the socioeconomic background? You have, as a whole, 300 students, 500 students. How big is the school?
Yeah, maybe 300 students.
Uh-huh.
My village is about between 8,000 and 10,000 students. The social economical background is more or less, they have like average. They are average, some of them, but some of them have also economical difficulties, we can say. I don't know for all of them, but
So
this happens everywhere. So also in my school too.
is this a
Uh,
rural area, Francesco,
yeah,
or uh-huh,
mainly, yeah,
mainly rural? So it's a middle class, or a rural middle class in Spain,
yeah.
and then families with hardship. What's your population makeup in terms of, you have lots of immigrants, so it's mostly traditional.
Well, there's I don't know the percentage, but maybe 10, I don't know, 15.
Uh-huh.
Uh, the percent of immigrants or migrants is about 10 or 15%.
Uh-huh.
But they have been here
Yeah.
for many years
Yeah.
now. So maybe it's, for example, I remember one student that returned to her country,
Hmm.
but mainly they say that their families arrived many years ago and they stay here, even if at home they have different languages.
Yeah.
They can speak Catalan perfectly, and uh, I have students which, if I talk to them, I don't know if they are
Yeah.
from natural from my town or not.
So compared to the rest
And
of Catalonia and other regions in the peninsula, how bad are the how bad is the situation in Alcanar? Or is what are the rates of infection? Is it similar to
well,
other places? Hmm.
as far as I know, there has been just one case reported for
Okay.
last week.
Okay.
So this is a rural area, and I think it helps as it doesn't have a big concentration of population,
Yeah. Yeah.
and people they go to the countryside. They normally, or many families have a house there where they used to spend summer.
Yeah.
Many of them, I think, went there because it's like better for the kids,
I see. Okay. Okay.
mainly
So
for the kids.
and so you were asked to stay at home, and this has been enforced very aggressively, right? Like you can really not leave your place unless you go buy groceries. So what's the situation?
Yeah, it has been the last I don't know, maybe a couple of weeks.
Hmm.
It has been enforced, or it has been compulsory that we cannot leave homes. But before, I mean, when the schools were closed, we were allowed to be in the street. And for example, well, at the very beginnings, the authorities didn't give us so precise direction. So
Uh-huh, uh-huh.
what we did in particular, and I think it was the case in many other families, is that we went to the countryside, even if we don't have a house to stay there. Well, we have a dog there, and we have to give food to him. And also, it's much better for well, we have 3 kids at home, right?
Wow, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So the two of us and the 3 kids, it's like they need to do some exercise mainly, and
Yes.
to feel in contact with nature. Fortunately, we have a balcony where we can see the sea and the countryside from our house. Our house is not very big, but I think this can be a problem in places where they have to stay in small flats.
In really small apartment. Yeah,
Yeah.
I've followed some stories, and it can be, people get really creative to be able
Yeah,
to cope with.
they have to, they have to. No other possibilities.
So let me take you back. So you get an announcement from the school administration. We're not coming back to class from one day to the next. Did you have time to prepare, or was this just all of a sudden and it was a little bit
Well, it was
chaotic?
a Thursday, and Thursday I have just one class of present class in high school, so I was already at home.
Uh-huh.
And when they announced that, I thought, well, I have my computer, and that's enough. I didn't thought that the situation was gonna last
Yeah.
for so long. And for example, next week we're having an evaluation of our students, and I don't have a grade. And I said that, how am I gonna put the grade if I don't have an exam?
Yeah.
We'll see what's gonna happen, but I don't think it's fair. I don't know how to do it, but
Yeah.
they
So
say that.
let me see if I get this, if I understand this. They told you we're closing the school, but did they ask you to find a way to interact with the students, or the school is just locked and there's no classes, or what's the situation?
Yeah, something. Well, the formal announcement, in fact, it was made on Friday.
Uh-huh.
On Friday, they just say that there were gonna be classes, and I thought that the situation was gonna be like a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
That was my impression, and I think it was the impression of most of the population. Nobody, in fact, in other places, didn't even stop classes. I think.
Uh-huh.
In
Yeah.
Catalonia, maybe they stopped classes a little bit
Later.
earlier than in other places.
Oh, earlier than other. Oh, I see. I see.
A little bit, I'm not sure.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So I didn't know what to do and what to expect. And at the very beginning, they just said, let's just put some work to our students.
Okay.
That were the directions I had.
So you prepare some packages online and distributed them through email, or what did you do?
We have already during this course I was using Google Classroom
Okay.
in one group, and a similar to Google Classroom, which is Moodle. I think it's the appropriate word in English. No, I had a Moodle with my first of ESO students, and with my second of ESO students. We were using Moodle, so we were using it in class to deliver some tasks and to interact. We were already using it before.
Okay,
right?
great.
I have been using it with my students before.
Yeah.
So they were used to it. The problem, for example, there were some students that don't have the key to access Moodle. So that's the first problem. What happens with these students that don't have the option? Well, one had arrived just a couple of days ago, but for other students, I knew that they didn't have the username or password to access it. So that was the first key. Yeah. But as I consider that it was not compulsory, I didn't worry much about it. And I know that my students have a WhatsApp group for the whole class. So if a person wants to work or wants to do something related with my subject, they can ask other students through this WhatsApp group, which is not official, but they use it to communicate frequently.
They find a way to. So you mentioned a few moments ago, Francesc, that you are being asked to evaluate your students the next week. So how's that going to happen?
I don't know, but we have Friday, we were already in holidays, but Friday, Friday at 8 o'clock, we made a department meeting, and there I proposed to change the percentages. I said, let's put 40%, and this last third term, just 20%. So if a student doesn't want, I said in this term, doesn't want, because first of all, we have to understand that if students have to stay at home, it's gonna be a different situation for the students that have a parent or tutor or whatever support, or even a teacher that they are paying and it's helping them, than the students that cannot afford that, or they don't have the support that I can give to them in class. Right? Exactly. So I think we have to consider that very, very much, and we have to be very careful about that. So this was my suggestion. But it is not sure. It is not sure that what's going to happen. And then after considering that, we also change, because well, I didn't thought about an exam the same way we were doing exams before, right? And it is true that the system is starting to change, and the evaluation form is not necessary through exams. We have like activities in class and only many other things that may guide us to a final evaluation.
So it is becoming more of a continuing evaluation as opposed to everything towards only the end of the semester, which seems to be a practice that's well established in Spain, right? Like students will go to classes and then at the end there's an exam or something. So you're switching to more of a continued. Okay, that's.
This is what the system is trying. Not because of the situation right now, but in previous years they had already started this kind of shift of the evaluation and of the practices during the teaching and learning process. But considering that, even I just thought that maybe we just give some activities and the students do it. Which in the end, my objective is the students learn. It doesn't matter how, the students learn.
Will learn and still probably reach most of the objectives that you had set out to reach at the beginning of the academic year, right? How's your communication with students? I know that this is vacation right now this week, but the week before and later, are you being able to stay in touch with students? Are they reaching out to you, or you are reaching out to them?
No, this is the main problem. In fact, this is why I don't see how this is gonna work. Because, well, first of all, as I said, I consider these activities were not compulsory. So they were not to be obligated to contact me or to do the activities. That's how I understood it. I don't know how they try to do it, right? Because if they've tried to do it, the feedback I received is very poor. Just a few of them contact me either through email or through a forum that I established on purpose. Well, we decided to establish work for every week. So this is the work for this week, right? But very few feedback. This is the main problem. But I consider that as it was not compulsory and the indications were not very clear, this may be one of the factors that lead to this lack of communication. That's my point.
I'm trying to keep these clips to a certain extension. So we're going to be running out of time soon, and even more so if I'm not collecting my thoughts carefully. So anyways, before we close the conversation, I really wanted to get your perspectives as educators. So unfortunately, it is possible that we will be facing a similar situation in the future. I'm really hoping that not, but it's likely.
Yeah, yeah.
So, in my conversations with other educators, we've been pondering what is it that we can learn from this experience, and what is it that we can try to change of our practice, personal and institutional, to be better prepared for these situations, and maybe to learn from the situation. So, what are your thoughts on that area of learnings and
Yeah.
possibilities?
Um, um, well, another thing I wanna say before that is, for example, that I suggested to make some videos and be like a YouTuber. I have a friend of mine who did that, and I asked my colleagues if they were trying to do that. Some of them were doing online classes with Meet, like we're doing right now,
Mm-hmm,
right?
mm-hmm,
Online class, and the
mm-hmm.
students could ask, especially with the older, which are supposed to have like an evaluation to enter university at the end of the summer
Mm-hmm.
on July. So,
Yeah.
and these are the older, and these are the ones that I had less feedback, right?
Huh.
I don't know if they are working on their own, they are mature enough, but
Oh,
some of them they were really good students, and I haven't had even an email, not even one, saying
interesting.
I'm doing that or I'm doing the other one.
Huh.
The notes I gave to them are explained, and some of the exercises are done, but I was just interested. Hey, how is it going? Can we make like a meet to see how you're doing? Maybe to point out any particular exercise. But these were the most difficult group to which I had to um,
To work with.
work with. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Huh.
And then learning from that, well, I was a teacher at university,
Mm-hmm.
and I was doing online classes with university students also. It was an online university, um, and it was I had some experience in teaching online, right? We were using a program, and I think maybe we're moving towards them. And from that experience in particular, I had some insights and some experiences of how I can improve that. But this is much different because I didn't meet my students personal in that
Yeah.
class, right?
Yes. Yeah. It was
And
fully online. Mm-hmm.
yeah, from if I wanted to let's say shift all my what I did with my online classes
Mm-hmm.
to what can we do right now, we can, well, or the system entirely. First of all, the system needs to provide a computer. I think the system should provide a computer and a connection,
Yeah.
because if I have to work with the computer that my school gave to me, first of all, some schools don't give computers.
Yeah.
And this is a really tiny screen, and I have some side problems already with if I have to work many time in the computer.
Yeah. Of
So,
course.
so
Of
not
course.
everybody is adapted, or it's not the same. I mean, technologies are good, but you have to be comfortable. And
Yeah.
comfortable means have good hardware also, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
And the main point is that we all have the same opportunities. And what this made me realize is that I'm worried a little bit about that. And I maybe wasn't conscious about it before.
Mm-hmm.
Because sometimes we do like a class and we say, oh, Well, I did my class, and this is what I'm asking myself. Have I reached all my students? Why this and this haven't understood or haven't worked? It doesn't matter if they didn't want, but now I'm wondering, what if I give a task to a student, this student doesn't do this? What's gonna happen next year? These students are gonna be left behind a little bit at least.
Yeah.
But this happened also in the regular classes, right? Yeah. This made me realize that maybe I had to put more, I don't know, intention, or ask things another way, or maybe simplify things, or maybe don't ask for so many things, because sometimes it's like, well, it's hard to reach, well, I have like 20, 23, 25 students per class, which is not much, I have had before in the previous years, much more students in the class. But I think the main thing is, and apart from math, we have to make each student feel, first of all, very good, very confident in themselves. That's the main focus, the main important thing for me.
Confidence.
And confidence in themselves. To be sure that they can be whatever they can be. Doesn't matter if they are not good at math, but maybe the system is pushing so hard because, I don't know, for example, I had a WhatsApp message saying, well, math, English, whatever is very good, but what are kids really doing now is handcrafts. At the very beginning, they were doing handcrafts, and kids were very happy doing handcrafts. Well, now we have to see a very different scenario. But at the very beginning, that's what kids enjoy doing. And I think the most important thing is, as people, every person should know what they can be, what they want to be in that particular moment. It doesn't mean they don't have to put effort in what they are doing right now. But I think more in a holistic education involving feelings, which is already starting to do in primary school and a little bit in secondary school. And this is why I understand by self-confidence, not only around the subjects, right? But in life. How are we gonna learn from that? Well, I think we have already learned, and this is a big opportunity for me personally. It's a big opportunity to change and to work on myself, and to work with my family members of our relationships. And I think this is gonna help us, for example, in my school also, to consider, well, maybe we're doing things the best we can, and to respect each other a little bit more, in the sense that I'm not so important. I can be here, and the next day, because of a virus right now, this will help many people to understand that life is, there's a start, there's an end, right? And many people doesn't think about the end of the life.
That's right.
And I don't know, but this is a big opportunity. And also to consider what are really important things in our lives. I think this is, as all the things in life, it has positive and negative aspects, and I try to focus on positive aspects. These two are the main beneficial aspects that this confinement has up until now.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful, Francesc. Not
Okay.
bad for a math teacher. You wouldn't expect this sort of philosophical text, but I know enough of you to be appreciative of your emphasis on the need for us to be happy as humans, no matter what's our work or life or where we live. So I appreciate that. Okay, Francesca, unfortunately, I'm gonna have to bring the clip to a closure, but I want to thank you for the time. I want to send you una abrazada.
Okay,
Out
thank you
from
very much.
California, and I wish you the best. You and your family. Hopefully, we'll be out of here, and we will be out of this situation sooner than later, and we'll go back to our ways of doing things. Hopefully, having learned something about this, and your reflection very well shows that we can learn from this and then enhance what we're doing later on for the benefit of our kids and the next generation. All right, Francesc.
One last thing, if you have a minute.
Absolutely.
Is that I am more or less happy with this situation because I could give the appropriate time to my family, I think. But for example, my wife is working much more than me. And I don't know what will happen in the future, but this is also another opportunity. Do I have to work so much? Yeah. Do I need the money? Do I need to spend so much time working? And this is also to what will happen in the future. Maybe we have to school to consider less work, because more time in school doesn't mean you learn more, right? That's less right. Work and more focus on the important things in our subjects also.
Absolutely. Oh, I love it.
Okay.
All right.